it's Alexa with The World is a Gem and Alexa Joy Design, and now Life is a Gem. I'm adding a part of my blog. I don't know if it'll work yet, but we'll see. I'm just going to be adding, so there's The World is a Gem, which is kind of talking about like my travels and everything like that into the blog, and then also I'm having Life is a Gem to talk about life and positivity and my studio work and everything that I do with that. So it's like a blog within a blog, but anyway, not the point. I want to make this little video showcasing like what I do in a day when I'm making jewelry. And so I wanted to show you what my process were with that, because what I do is very, very specific. There's 10 million different ways to make jewelry, but mine is, well, what I like to do is silversmithing. You know, there's wire wrapping, there's electroforming, beading. I do that, but it's not my favorite thing in the world, so I do silversmithing. And so I'm going to show you my process for that, like how I start. First of all, I have a plan in mind. I talked to a client who wants a certain piece, and I know exactly what crystal I'm using. She wants a kind of long crystal that'll hang about here, and she wants the crystal wrapped in metal in the middle, and then little like jump rings to hold the necklace up. So I'm gonna do that for her, and so I'm gonna show you getting my supplies for that. Yeah, this is gonna be like a tell-all video, show all like my process, and things are kind of a mess right now as far as studio stuff, so I'm gonna have to set something up on the fly, kind of, but we're gonna do it. Anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna get sterling silver wire. I'm also gonna get fine silver, which is 99% silver, which is very soft, and you only use that silver. You don't use it mainly for jewelry like rings. You wouldn't find it in fine silver because it's just so soft that, I mean, you have to wear rings and things that you have to go through everyday life, and that would never hold up. But it's really, really bendable, so that's why it's good to put around stones, and you can shape it around stones, and it holds the stones, and it doesn't look any different from sterling silver when you craft it all together. It just looks like silver, matches sterling silver exactly. Only thing is that it's softer, and you're able to mold it much, much easier because it's just silver instead of, there's no copper in it. So anyway, I'm here. So I was, okay, the point is that I was just trying to make is that it's very specialized, and you can't just go to Joann's and pick up these supplies. So there is one place that I know of in Utah. I don't even know if there's more than one place in Utah that does this, but in Salt Lake City at least, there's one place, and they're called Freshman's Jewelry Supply, and I'm there now. And it's downtown Salt Lake City, and that's where I get all my supplies. So I'm gonna go pick those up and show you what I got. I'm not sure if I can film in there. We'll see. I love downtown Salt Lake City. We're not in the thick of it with the buildings, but it doesn't really get that thick anyway, but I still love it. Got the stuff ready to freaking go. So I got the things, and I'm going to show you what they look like really quick, just so you know. So I got, I wanted to, okay, usually with my prongs and things to hold gems and like raw gems, I use like 20 gauge sterling silver wire, but for what I have in mind, that's just not gonna cut it. So I got size up, which is 18 gauge sterling silver wire round, and then for the bezel wire, if you see, it's just flat. And this is the silver, the fine silver, the 1/8 gauge bezel wire. So if you can imagine this wrapped around a crystal, it will look beautiful. I'm gonna show you the whole process for that. I actually haven't seen this look before. Like, I didn't know how to. Maybe I have seen this look before with a crystal, but I didn't know how it was done. But I just thought, hey, you know, why not wrap this around a crystal and see how it works, see if it holds, and it ended up holding. I put a crystal. Now it's not a thing. I took it apart, but I had a crystal. I can show you pictures of what it looked like. A quartz crystal on top of a ring, and it was being held together with this, and it was perfect, and I love it. And that's what I showed the client. She said, I want a amethyst crystal pendant, and I was like, cool. Well, there's different ways you can have it strung. And so I showed her different ways of how I personally do it. I had like 3 different ways. And I showed her the crystal wrapping way with that bezel wire, and she was like, oh my gosh, I love that. So, it's good. It's good. Okay, so on to the next step then. Hey, what's up everyone? Alright, this is what I'm looking at as far as studio space goes for making my jewelry. So I'm just gonna go through the things that I'm interested in working on right now. So first things first is what I was talking about earlier with the amethyst crystal, the pendant. And this is the crystal that I have, which is gorgeous. I mean, it looks like pretty clear, but there's also some purple. So before I do it, just imagine this around this crystal in the middle. Like that. That's how it's going to be held. I'm gonna start with my tools. There's so many other tools that I have, but this is like what I need right now. So we've got a thing to put, so where I can solder. This holds the metal while I solder it. Here's my torch that I use, some wire for different things. And then we got different pliers, we got a file, we got solder right here. This is H is for hard solder. There's hard, medium, and easy solder, but I usually use hard. There's a lot that goes into this, so I don't know if I can really explain everything very well. But this is just like behind the scenes, basically. And this I use with my solder. So if I'm able to record all of this, me doing it, then awesome. Okay, so this is kind of just bend around the crystal and then cut it where it's approximate. You can see that I don't know if it's gonna focus really, but you see that I've got it all wrapped around there, so now I'm just going to cut it. Cut. Cool. Now we got a little snip of it. So now I'm going to file the ends so they're completely straight. So I'm just going to use this little file. Okay, so here's what I have. So I measured this bezel wire around this crystal in the middle, and then I cut it, which is the exact shape of this, and then I cut it again so it would be like the most exact snug fit that I could get. And then I created tension by matching these 2 ends together by overlapping this part underneath this one and then over it to create tension, and then I matched them up. So if I don't create that tension, then the metal expands when it's heated up, so it will expand outwards, which I don't want when I want it soldered together. Now what I'm going to do is use this flux. This is called flux, and it's just, I put this on top where I want the solder to flow, which is right on the seam. and I'm going to use solder. You don't need a lot, so now I'm going to use my torch to pick up the solder and then put it on the seam. And the solder doesn't heat, it doesn't melt by heat, it melts, direct heat, it doesn't melt. So I have to meet up the whole entire little ring here for it to melt, which is important. So it beads up into a little ball. And then I'm just going to heat it. Oh, there we go. Ooh, pretty. Okay, so now I have got this, which is really hot. I've got water up here. So it just didn't, this is like really jerry-rigged, so I'm sorry, but then this is really hot, this whole part, except for up here, so this is super hot, so I'm just going to dunk it. Freaking awesome sound. Alright, so now we've got our perfect little ring here. All freaking right. Okay, so it's closed ring. So I refit it back on the crystal, which is actually extremely hard because, like I said, I wanted a really tight, snug fit, and so it is. So it's really hard to get it back on the crystal, but here it is. So now I just have to decide how is it going to sit best, like on a person, and then I can determine where I want to put the jump rings that will hold the chain. So pretty much this is the flat part of the crystal. It's just gonna hang flat on your chest, instead of being all over the place and like poking you with like this weird side. So I think I'm gonna put jump rings here and here, which means I have to take this off. So I'm gonna mark just little tiny marks with some tool, probably this one, just so I know where to put the jump rings when I take it off, and I'll show you that process as well. Here's this, we're taking off the crystal, and then, so I'm just gonna cut, so how you make jump rings is this is a 20 gauge sterling silver wire, so I'm just gonna cut like right down the middle, and there's gonna be some jump rings, and I'll show you that. Okay, so this whole soldering thing is not easy sometimes, especially because this is called a third arm. I only have one, so I have to kind of balance this and hope for the best, and then put the jump ring on there at an angle. And I decided to put solder on the jump ring instead of on the piece itself, because then the solder could like potentially run all over the piece and I'll have to file it all down, and that's not cool. So I'm just gonna I just put it on the jump ring and close the jump ring with the solder, and just have the solder I put on the jump ring transfer to this piece. So yeah, we'll see. It is on there officially. It's really exciting to see solder melt, because then you're afraid that the whole piece will melt, but then you see the solder melt and you're like, whoo! All right, cool. Hey, so it's a new dawn, it's a new day, so it is the next day. And this is what it looks like. So I polished it, so I put it in the Pickwing solution, then right after I put it in my jewelry tumbler, which polishes it. I left it going overnight, so I've got that really high shine that is just gorgeous. And then I put it on the crystal. It's a really snug fit, which is perfect. And then I have this chain that is like 42 inches long, so I might have to make it shorter because this is like kind of insane. So I'll do that. Okay, so I've got my crystal, my chain, and now I'm going to use a jump ring to attach the ends of this chain to this. So that's in there. Now I'm going to attach this jump ring part to the crystal. So I'm just going to loop that in there. And then I close the jump ring so it'll be all good and set up. Alright, so I got one side attached. So I opened this jump ring, attached it to this jump ring that is on the crystal piece. So now we're going to do the other side. So I'm going to open the jump ring sideways. So if you just pull it apart, it's not going to match up right. You probably, if you have put together jewelry before, you probably notice that. But the way to fix this, also don't do this with your nails, it's not good for your nails. The way to fix jump rings is how you put them together properly is you move it side to side. Like you move it sideways instead of apart. That's gonna focus. And so I'm going to attach it to this chain. Just loop that in there. There we go, and then just attach it to this part of the crystal. Alright, and then I just move it back, move the jump ring. Alright, cool, then we have an attached crystal to an attached chain, so let's see how this looks. Okay, so here's what the necklace looks like. So I had that long chain, but I put it back, so now it looks layered. So here's the crystal piece. She wanted, she wanted it because I'm making it for someone. She wanted the crystal on a longer chain hanging down. So I feel like this length is pretty long, pretty good. And then I didn't want to like waste the other part of the chain, so I made it this part layered, so she can put another pendant here if she wanted, or just have it be plain. I think it looks really good. I'm super psyched about how this turned out. Look, focusing really sucks, but it's really cool. So I can't wait to show her and see what she thinks, because I'm really psyched about how this turned out. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to see any more behind the scenes video, let me know in the comments down below. Or just let me know what you'd like to see in general, because there's a lot of things that I do. I paint, I model, I'm a photographer. Now I'm starting to make soap, so that's a thing. And then obviously I make jewelry, and I make different kinds of jewelry. So if you want to see me make a certain kind of thing, let me know. I'll do the behind the scenes of that as well. And I'm just here, I want to show people my process, my thought process. Hopefully it'll help you and how I do things. So keep watching and subscribe if you like. Thank you so much.